The Life of Trees. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Whispers. The forests once stretched endlessly, their roots tangled together beneath the earth, carrying ancient whispers, warnings, and stories. The trees shared knowledge through those roots, faster than the wind, older than language itself. But that was before the roads came. Before the saws, the smoke, the fences. Before the world stopped listening. Now, the forests stand alone, cut off from one another, isolated, and fading. Most people don't hear the whispers anymore. But my brother, Willie the Kid, and we do. We're the adventurers. Explorers, translators, some might say troublemakers. We help forgotten places, and sometimes forgotten people, find their way back. We learned how from our mother, the Trinketer. Chapter 2. The Trinketer's Legacy. Once, the Trinketer's name was everywhere. You could find her in dictionaries, in stories whispered around campfires, hidden between lines of old songs and forgotten signs. The Trinketer isn't a ruler. She doesn't command or control. She leaves clues, symbols, quiet reminders scattered across the world to help people remember what matters most. Kindness, courage, connection. But those signs are easy to miss, especially now when being good seems old-fashioned and the world races toward noise, greed, and division. The Trinketer faded from memory. Her name vanished from the dictionaries. But she never stopped working or teaching us to do the same. Chapter 3. The Rainbow Tunnel and our Log Cabin. We live on the other side of the world. Not the far side, the other side. The side most people don't see anymore. It's hidden, wild, part magical, part real. You reach it through the Rainbow Tunnel, an ancient arc of shimmering light that bends across forgotten skies. Past the tunnel is our little log cabin, nestled among towering pines. It's not much. Wooden walls, creaky floors, a fireplace that smokes too much. But it's safe. It's where we train to listen to the trees, to the earth, to the whispers tucked into the corners of the world. And lately, the forests have been calling for help. Chapter 4. The Divided Forests. We thought all trees spoke the same language. We were wrong. After years of isolation, cut off by deforestation, pollution, and concrete, each forest evolved in its own way. Here's what we've seen. Evergreen tree Pinewood Peaks, home of the saplings, where youth leads the way. The young trees run the schools, invent new tricks, and dream up bold ideas. But they've forgotten the wisdom of the elders. Deciduous tree Elderroot Hollow, a forest of ancient oaks and towering elders. Their roots run deep with tradition and memory. But they resist change, clinging to the old ways, even when the world is crumbling. Cherry Blossom Bay, a coastal grove of cherry trees who believe joy is the only rule. They throw petal parties every day, ban seriousness, and refuse to clean up their messes. Their happiness is loud, but shallow. Glowing Star Birch Bright Grove, the cleanest, most polished forest we've ever seen. The birch trees sparkle with pride. They follow strict rules, distrust outsiders, and see fun as suspicious. Their bark shines, but their hearts have grown cold. Each forest holds onto its values, but their disconnection has made them suspicious, stubborn, and weak. Chapter 5. The Great Meeting of the Roots. We gathered the forest leaders beneath the star oak, the last ancient tree whose roots once touched every forest on earth. We told them the truth. The forests are dying, divided. You need each other. The old ways alone won't save you. Joy alone won't protect you. Rules alone won't make you stronger. New ideas alone won't reconnect your roots. But together, you might stand a chance. The trees wrestled and argued. Their leaves shivered with mistrust. But some listened. Some remembered. Chapter 6. 2 Futures. The forests now face two possible futures. In one future, The communities unite. They share knowledge old and new. They balance joy with responsibility. They let their roots grow together again. Humans help plant, protect, and rebuild what's been lost. The earth whispers once more, scarred, but alive. In the other future, fear wins. Division spreads. The forests stay isolated. The roots stay broken. The world grows quieter, emptier. But hope never vanishes completely. It waits for the next adventurers brave enough to listen and good enough to care. End of Book 1 excerpt, ready for series expansion. The Life of Trees. Updated expanded chapters Deciduous Tree. Chapter 2, Voices Beneath the Bark. Willie the Kid had always been curious, the kind of boy who climbed trees just to hear the wind hum through the branches. Lila Rose, with her wild curls and sharper ears, always felt the forest was trying to say something. And it was. Deep beneath the soil, the trees whispered through their roots, an ancient network carrying secrets, stories, and warnings across vast forests. But now, the roots had been severed. Our voices, can't travel, groaned an old maple as Willie pressed his palm to its cracked trunk. The forests are silent islands, Lila whispered, listening to the faint hum beneath the dirt. Their magic didn't make the trees speak, it let them hear what others had forgotten. Chapter 3, Broken Roots, Broken Hearts. They journeyed across the land, to forests that once stretched endlessly, now fractured by roads, cities, and fallen stumps. Each tree community was isolated, their root connections broken by deforestation, pollution, and greed. The Pinewood Peaks, home to youthful saplings, had lost touch with their elders. Elderroot Hollow's ancient oaks stood alone, unaware of the world's changes. Blossom Bay's cheerful cherry trees bloomed in silence, cut off from distant forests. Birchbright Grove, with its polished bark and strict rules, had grown distrustful and cold. We are forgotten, fading, the trees whispered, their roots hungry for connection. Chapter 4, The Translators Return. Willie the Kid and Lila Rose knew they couldn't magically regrow roots across highways or cities, but they could carry messages. They traveled from grove to grove, listening, learning, and sharing news. Pinewood Peaks invented new ways to store water. Elderroot Hollow remembers the old songs of survival. Blossom Bay, well, they throw great parties. Slowly, hope sparked, but mistrust still ran deep. Chapter 5, The Great Meeting of the Roots. At the Withering Star Oak, the adventurers gathered the tree leaders. You may be cut off, said Lila Rose, but you're not alone. We can carry your voices, your roots may be broken, but your hearts aren't, added Willie. The trees rustled, uncertain but listening. Would they learn from one another, or let their differences divide them forever? Chapter 6, Two Possible Futures. Ending 1, The Forests Heal. With the adventurers as messengers, the trees shared knowledge and kindness. Together with some humans, they began replanting, reconnecting root systems. It took time, but the forests healed. The ancient root network pulsed with life again. Different communities, one united family. The earth whispered, stronger than ever. Ending 2, The Silence Remains. Some trees refused to trust. Some humans kept cutting. The roots stayed severed. Willie and Lila did all they could, but connection takes more than magic, it takes choice. The forests waited, weakened, their voices quiet, but hope never vanished completely. The Life of Trees. Expanded chapters Deciduous Tree. Chapter 2, Voices Beneath the Bark. Lily the Kid and Lila Rose had always heard whispers when they wandered through forests of rustles in the leaves, groans in the trunks, secrets in the roots. One foggy morning, by the edge of Crumbled Creek, they finally understood the whispers. We can hear you? Lila gasped, placing her hand on the cracked bark of a willow tree. The tree's voice was faint, like wind through broken glass. We have always spoken, but humans forgot how to listen. The lid's magic wasn't to make the trees talk, it was to understand them. Chapter 3: A World of Silent Suffering. As they traveled from forest to forest, the girls discovered the same heartbreaking truth. The trees were sick, their leaves wilted, their roots starved. Entire groves lay bare where forests once stood tall. Deforestation, pollution, groaned an ancient cedar in pinewood peaks. Our sap runs thin, whispered a birch in Birchbright Grove. Our petals fall too soon, sobbed the cherry trees of Blossom Bay. The trees had been isolated, not just by magic loss, but by destruction. And worse, with all the deforestation, the tree communities which once ran so close to each other they could communicate through their roots, talking they couldn't warn each other, couldn't unite, couldn't share hope, until now. Chapter 4: The Translators. Lila Rose and Willie the Kid, young, brave, and part magic, became the voices between the forests. They traveled far, carrying messages, dreams, and warnings from one grove to another. They told Elderroot Hollow of the young saplings' clever inventions in Pinewood Peaks. They shared Blossom Bay's joy with the somber, sparkling trees of Birchbright Grove. They listened to each community's fears, strengths, and struggles. But old grudges and deep differences still brewed beneath the bark. Chapter 5: The Devastated Forests Meet. Lila and Willie the Kid organized a grand gathering beneath the star oak, whose branches once touched the clouds, but now hung brittle and low. The tree communities came, weary, weakened, wary. We can be different and still stand together, Lila urged. But we must listen, learn, and fight for our survival, Lila declared. The trees argued, whispered, even wept, but at last, they began to hear each other. Chapter 6: Two Possible Futures. Ending 1: Roots Reclaimed. The trees shared knowledge, seeds, strength. The girls guided humans to plant, protect, and heal. Forests flourished, and the earth began to breathe again. The trees, though different, stood united not to take over the world, but to reclaim their right to grow, to shade, to shelter. And the world whispered with life once more. Ending 2: Silence Returns. But unity is fragile. Some trees clung to old fears. Some humans ignored the warnings. The forests stayed divided, suffering in silence. The kids did all they could, but without unity, the magic faded and the earth grew quieter, emptier. The hope, though faint, lingered, waiting for the next adventurers to try. Evergreen Tree Best version starts here. The Life of Trees. Chapter 1: The Forgotten Whispers. The forests once stretched endlessly, their roots knotted together beneath the earth, carrying ancient whispers, warnings, and stories. Every tree, every forest, part of one vast family. The trees shared knowledge through those roots, faster than the wind, older than language itself. But the world changed. Roads were built, cities spread, trees were cut down. One by one, the connections broke. The forests stand alone now, isolated, silenced, fading. Most people can't hear the whispers anymore. But Lila Rose and Willie the Kid? They weren't ordinary kids. They were the adventurers. Part explorers, part magic, all heart. They travel between forgotten forests, lost corners of the world, listening to what most people have forgotten how to hear. The trees still speak if you know how to listen. But their voices are growing weaker every day. And time is running out. Chapter 2: The Trinketer's Legacy. Their mother, the Trinketer, taught them to listen. Once, her name was everywhere, written in dictionaries, carved into old trail markers, whispered in stories told by people who still remembered how to look beyond the obvious. The Trinketer doesn't command armies. She doesn't use spells or magic wands. She leaves clues, quiet reminders, signs hidden in plain sight, scattered across the world for those curious enough, brave enough, or lost enough to find them. She helps people remember what matters most. Kindness, courage, connection. But the world got noisy. People stopped noticing. Her name faded from language, just like the forests faded from memory. But the trinketer never stopped working. And neither did they. Chapter 3, The Rainbow Tunnel. They live with their mother on the other side of the world. Not the far side, the other side. The part most people don't see anymore. It's hidden, wild, part magical, part real. The only way there? Through the Rainbow Tunnel. An ancient arc of shimmering light, twisting across forgotten skies, connecting places most people have stopped believing in. Past the tunnel sits their log cabin, small, sturdy, tucked beneath towering pines, wrapped in mist and mystery. It's not fancy. The floors creak. The roof leaks sometimes. The old wood smells like sap and rain. But it's home. It's where they train to listen to the